It's day 104.
Of the 29th year and beyond.
Well, I really enjoyed Gail's analogy yesterday about working on your marriage and then talking about it as if we're talking about work. So I wanted to continue in that vein because what I was thinking about, just like on a job, in order to do it effectively, everybody needs to be on the same page as far as what the expectations are, having reviews, right? Counseling sessions when needed.
Yes.
And so that's what I want to talk about, because just like in your work experience, you may be knocking yourself out doing a bang up job, and then comes time for your review, and you think I'm doing outstanding, and they're like, well, you haven't done this, you haven't done this, you haven't done this.
Yeah.
Well, but I thought I was supposed to do A, B, and C. No, you were supposed to do S, T, and U, but it was never communicated.
Right.
What's your thought?
Oh, I think that's great. I think that you'd have to sit down from time to time and go over, where you're at. If you're meeting my expectations, or we're talking about the things that we previously talked about, are we there yet? Or we heading in the right direction? I was recently talking to a friend of mine, and I was saying that in a marriage, sometimes you have to have those moments where you just sit down and you just hash it out and discuss the things that your expectations were when you first got together.
And just like on a job, job responsibilities or expectations may change, right? And definitely that happens in relationships as you go long term. So, three things that I would ask you to do as you're working in your marriage for the success of it, because again, clarity. Everybody needs to have a clear understanding. So the first thing I would say is communication. Everybody needs to know what's expected. I need to know what's expected of her. She needs to know what's expected of me. And so that has been clearly articulated.
Okay.
That way, I'm not knocking myself out doing some stuff that she could care less about, right? Or vice versa.
That's true.
And come time for our love review, stay focused. Come time for our love review, so that's one demerit. She needs to pay attention.
So keep going.
At any rate.
Stay focused.
So communication is definitely key.
Okay. To number two?
Number two would be then implementation. Once you've talked about, okay, what those things are that are most important, those things that I expect from you, that you expect from me, then it comes time for an implementation. There's no need to discuss this stuff if nobody's going to do it.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
It does no good to say, okay, well, these are the things that we want to accomplish in our marriage for the next 6 months, for the next year, and we don't do anything. So once there's been the communication, then there needs to be the implementation. You need to begin to work towards those things and begin to achieve them. And the third thing I would say is because there's an obligation. Because we discussed and we've communicated what they are, we begin to implement them, we need to hold each other accountable. So we have now an obligation to do those things. But just like in any other situation, the wonderful thing about having those, I would say, those reviews, right, is you get an opportunity to see, okay, this is where we started, this is the progress that we made, these are the things that we need to continue working on, or, you know what, these are not the priorities anymore. So you get to revise.
Okay.
You get to revise, make a revision on the things that you agreed to, because over a period of time, as you grow, as you mature, as responsibilities and obligations change, then your priorities will as well.
Okay, so communication,
implementation,
and then holding each other accountable.
Which there's that obligation.
So CIA.
CIA.
CIA. Communicate, implement, accountability.
I said obligation.
Okay, I like
CIO.
obligation. I like CIA better.
Okay, well, whatever works. You see that? Now we've had a revision.
Yes, we have.
And what does revision mean? A second look. Oh, look at you.
Okay.
So, if you want to make certain that your marriage you're working at it,
Yeah.
and you're being productive. Those are the three things that we're going to offer you today. Until tomorrow, if the Lord says the same.
Bye.